My girlfriend is TikTok famous and I hate it. So, for a bit of context, my girlfriend and I have been together for almost 7 years. She was never super obsessed with social media or anything like that, hardly posted, kept herself to herself, and all that. Then she started to get hooked on TikTok. At first, she didn't post and she would just watch it for hours and hours, but eventually ended up making an account and posted quite a lot. She never liked the idea of working with some corporate company making someone else richer. She always wanted to be self-employed and I applauded that. Anyway, one day she posted a video and it was blowing up, and this is truly when she became obsessed. She started to tell me that this is it. This is what I'm going to do. I supported her unconditionally and told her that if the bills are paid, I couldn't give a damn what she did. At the same time of writing this post, her followers are sitting in the millions. I don't know how many people are going to read this, but I don't want to say exactly because I don't want anyone to find out who she actually is. A few problems are starting to arise. She earns good money, I can't fault her for that. She actually earns more than me, and I'm by no means an average earner in the UK. For one, her health is starting to take a hit. She never eats properly, doesn't sleep, and all of that. She is obsessed with numbers. If a TikTok or Instagram post performs badly, then she will be in a foul mood. It truly seems like the only hit of dopamine she can get is from her posts doing well. She's slowly turning into someone I do not know anymore, and it's killing me. I'm lucky if I get a half an hour a day where we have a normal conversation that doesn't regard her career. When we have arguments, she also starts to call me working class scum, saying that I work for literal pennies. I just wish that she would be humble and more down to earth. This girl is not the person I fell in love with. My 37 male, wife 35 female was in a man's hotel room at 1:30 in the morning. My wife of nearly 10 years has a history of straying, but that was prior to marriage and only happened once. There have been other suspicious circumstances, including once when a man that she says was her designated driver stayed overnight at our apartment while I was out of town, but she insists nothing happened. Recently, my wife went to a work conference with several male colleagues. On the first night there, they all went out to bars. That went well past midnight. We share our locations on our phones and I hadn't heard from her, so I checked her location. She was at a hotel that wasn't hers. I FaceTimed her and she didn't pick up. I called again and she picked up with the phone facing towards the ceiling and wall corner, with her from the shoulders up. I heard a male voice for half a second and then complete silence. She was eating a slice of pizza. I asked her what she was doing and she said, eating pizza? I asked her where and she didn't answer. She looked nervous. I asked her to spin the phone around so I could see what was going on. She hung up instead. I called her back and she didn't answer. I called again and she picked up and was walking fast through a hotel hallway. She made it outside and we talked on the way back to her hotel. She was nervously grinning the entire way back. She was very drunk. She was acting sort of angry with me. I'm not sure about what. Angry I called? Angry at the obvious sort of implied situation? I asked her to explain the situation and she says that she left the bar with two male coworkers to return to a hotel room where another male coworker had pizza. She says that she didn't realize how the situation looked until I called her and that she then panicked. She says that she didn't pan the phone around because she knew I would be upset. When I pointed out that she immediately told me that she was there with 3 men, so what information was she hiding by not showing me the room? She then said that she didn't pan the phone around because it would have been embarrassing. No, that whole situation is up. That is so wrong. I feel so bad for him, man. I'm trying to figure this out and come to terms with whatever happened. My gut feeling is that maybe she is lying and there was only one man there and they were doing more than eating pizza or planning on it. Otherwise, my thought is that it is obviously inappropriate and crosses boundaries she knows that I have. So at best, it is extremely disrespectful to me and our marriage. I'm trying to figure out if we should get divorced. She insists this is all because she wanted a slice of pizza. Is that realistic? Am I being gaslit? Please help.
Am I wrong for calling a woman a psycho for leaving a Bluetooth tracker in my car after our first date? My 42 wife passed away 2 years ago and we've been together since 1999. I was so broken for a while and probably clinically depressed. I never saw any treatment, but I was just not okay. I've recently decided that I'm done being alone, so I asked my friends and family if they knew anyone I might want to get to know. I've never used online dating and I've only had one girlfriend before my wife, so I'm not exactly an expert. Well, my friend's wife said she knew a nice woman and I agreed to go on a double date with them and her. I thought everything went well and said I would like to see her again. We agreed to go to dinner and see Anastasia, and I picked her up at the apartment and once again I had a nice time. There weren't fireworks or anything, but I was comfortable with her and she is physically attractive. I dropped her back at home afterwards and went over to see my sister. She insisted that I come over and talk about the date so she could guide me. Am I wrong for calling a woman a psycho for leaving a Bluetooth tracker in my car after our first date? I dropped my date back at her house and went over to see my sister. She insisted that I come over and talk about the date so she could guide me. She was best friends with my wife and we met through her, and she has become my protector since my wife died. So imagine my disbelief when I'm having tea with my sister and this car pulls into the driveway and it's the woman I was on the date with. I asked her how she found me and was kind of freaked out that she followed me. She then explains to me that she left an AirTag in my car so she could come over. My sister said that was super creepy, and if the sexes were reversed, the cops would be called. The woman tried to defend herself, saying I already knew where she lived, so it wasn't a big deal. I called her a psycho and asked her to please take the tracker out of my car, or I would call the cops. Now for the past few days, my friend's wife has been on my case, telling me I overreacted. She also said that I don't know what it's like out there for women dating in their 30s. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for embarrassing my father by offering to stop telling my children that I love them? I have 2 children ages 15 and 16 and call the boy boy and the girl girl. I love The Simpsons, and I always thought it was funny how Homer referred to Bart as boy and Bart called him Homer. With my father though, everything was yes sir, no sir. I also constantly tell my kids I love them and how proud I am. The thing is, for some reason, the name thing really upsets my dad. He was over last weekend and was ranting, saying that I'm hurting his grandchildren by not calling them by their names. I told him that my kids were happy and to leave it alone, but he wouldn't drop it. So I called my kids over to where we were and I asked them if they wanted to be called their names instead of boy or girl. I said that in return they would have to call me sir, not daddy or dad. I said I would accept father in emotional conversations, but I would no longer remind them every day I loved them and was proud of them. They both said they were happy with how things were and they knew what my relationship with my father is like. Am I wrong for embarrassing my father by offering to stop telling my children I love them? My kids responded that they loved the current situation and they knew what my relationship with my father was like. My father got all pissed off and said that's not what he wanted at all. So I asked my father how often he told my sisters and I he loved us or was proud of us and our accomplishments or just as people. His response was that it was a different time and that his father was worse than him. So I asked my dad if he thought my kids were happier than myself and my sisters growing up and pointed out my kids are happy and reasonably well adjusted. Now he's being all pissy and my mom says he's upset that I think he was a bad father. He wasn't a bad father. He was just emotionally distant and I hated it. My sisters both went to therapy to choose better men because they fell in love with any guy who gave them attention. Well, now my daughter knows her worth and won't settle for anything but best, and my son has no problem hugging me and telling me or his mom about his life. I know they're teens and I don't know everything that's going on with them, but I'm trying my best and trying to support. Am I wrong for secretly ordering chicken wings after my vegetarian mother-in-law cooked for me? So I'm currently pregnant and lately I've been experiencing some really strange cravings. Before meeting my husband, I grew up non-vegetarian, but I made the switch to vegetarian after we got together. It's important to note that my husband and his entire family are strict vegetarians. Recently, my mother-in-law came to stay with us to help when the baby's born, and 2 days ago she made me a meal. It was a special meal that she prepared just for me, and I truly appreciated the effort and the thoughtfulness. I ate everything she made and did compliment her cooking. However, throughout the entire meal, I couldn't help but think about chicken wings. The craving was so overwhelming that after lunch, I ordered some chicken wings for myself and disposed of the waste in the kitchen bin. Of course, completely forgetting that my mother-in-law would see it when she used the bin. Well, surely enough, later that evening, she found the wrappers and confronted me. She was visibly upset and felt hurt, believing that I didn't like her food. Am I wrong for secretly ordering chicken wings after my vegetarian mother-in-law cooked for me? The craving was so overwhelming after lunch that I ordered some chicken wings for myself and disposed of the waste in the kitchen bin. I completely forgot that my mother-in-law would see it when she used the bin, and later that night she found the wrapper and confronted me. She was visibly upset and felt hurt, believing I didn't like her food. I tried explaining it was just a pregnancy craving and not a reflection of her cooking, but she was deeply hurt and disappointed. Now my mother-in-law is being distant and is avoiding me, and my husband is being neutral. However, he did express that he is upset that I did eat chicken because we're vegetarians. I'm home with my mother-in-law every single day, and my husband is on call most days, and when he's home, he's mostly asleep. I'm not sure if I'm wrong or what to do to fix the situation. I genuinely have nothing against her cooking, I just had a craving. I never thought that it would still seriously be awkward days later. I thought it would just blow over. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Just listening to this story, I am getting hungry, but what do you think?